two top 16 players
Yep.
playing round one here.
Yep.
Playing some different decks, though. Timmy playing Adam. So one of the more interesting things about this event is the fact that you're going to have to play non-standard IDs.
Yep, so for those that don't know, each faction can only be represented once.
Right.
And everybody has to play a different faction. It's interesting. Most opponents you'll see, they'll probably run Criminal, Anarch, and Shaper. So you won't really see a lot of the minis. So I think it's really great to see people kind of bring, fun, different decks. Something that's, I mean, you just played in this yellow and red meta all of yesterday.
You grinded for 2 straight days.
Exactly. So being able to play something that's very different than what you've been playing, I think it's a good relief.
Yeah, and especially to see these top tier players. Timmy Wong bringing an Adam deck.
Right.
Let's go. Let's have fun with it.
He is the people's champion.
Right.
I mean, look at the decks he brings. People look at these decks and they don't. For an average player, the decks don't seem to make sense.
Right.
How does this work? How does this win? And he does, but he does it every year.
It's a testament to how good of a player he is.
Absolutely.
So I'm excited to see this. Brian, on the other hand, has decided to maybe bring some of yesterday to the table. Maybe a little salty he didn't make it further. So we're going to be seeing CTM for the 3rd straight day.
Yep. So I don't think we're going to see too much surprise probably out of Brian's play here today. Right. I anticipate a pretty standard CTM style deck.
Yep. Certainly going to mulligan with 3 agendas in hand.
Absolutely. Yep.
Timmy, on the other hand, I have no idea what a good starting hand for Adam is.
No,
so
I don't either.
His directives, however, let's see if I can get these right. It looks like, what's the truth?
Find the truth. Yep.
Neutralize all threats.
Yep.
And always
be running, I believe. Yep.
Oh, no, safety first.
Oh, no. Okay.
Safety first. Okay. So has foregone the always be running.
Is this legal? They're not sleeved.
Not. Oh, they are not. They are, in fact, not. I'm going to have to call a judge. Let's drive over to the FFG Center, see what they say.
Hey, I was a judge, so
that's fair.
If you do, right.
There we go. So our emergency backup judge on the mic. So this is a much better start for Brian, actually.
Oh,
He's
absolutely.
got no agendas in hand. He's got 3 assets. 2 of them are, one is a Sensi, one of them is product placement, right? And Moombed Virtual Tour.
Yep.
So he could have put all 3 of those in one server, and we would have had fun with the guessing game that Timmy Wong would have had to go through to guess to pull one out.
So I think if you're Timmy, you just always be running your hand right here. I guess there's no reason not to. It's kind of, you're forced to have to go, right?
Yeah.
So.
Although, wait, no. Yeah, right. No, always
Oh, no,
be
that's right.
Yeah.
Not always
so
be running. Oh,
safety first,
that's
neutralize all
right.
threats. So neutralize all threats is going to be interesting in this matchup.
It is going to be very
and that might be why he played it, right?
Maybe.
Not sure, but we'll see. He drops the Armitage, so he's just going to money up and look for the pieces. My guess would be when he sees the Sensi, he's probably going to go
at it.
that.
Absolutely. That's a card, obviously. You just can't let stick around.
It's one of the most important pieces for CTM because it lets them draw all the pieces they need to score out and win.
It just puts so much pressure on the runner if you can't nip it in the bud early.
All right. Well, so we see some of Timmy's influence early, and yeah, he's just going to go for it against CTM, drop the scrubber, and run it.
That was a talk in our local meta. Is everybody going to be stuck having to import scrubber when Wizard goes away? The core 2.0 rumors of what's going to happen.
And I think that's a good question. I think, but as you said, they're maybe trying to steer us more away from assets. And that's why Wizard's so strong right now, is that there's a strong asset meta.
Right.
And Wizard is still playable.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
so people are playing that. But I think, I'm excited for Violet level clearance out of HB. I'm excited for more operation money and cards.
Yep.
So I think the more we see that, the less we see Wizard, which means as Wizard fades out, then we're going to see less need for stuff like Scrubber and unfortunately out of Shaper.
And I really hope so. I just think, the game could use a little shift. We've been dealing with this kind of asset meta the entire year.
Right.
Obviously we had, the disaster. I like to think of, Moombed was, it was kind of an unfortunate time in the game.
As an IG player, I have no comment. But here we see Brian uses the Sensi on this turn, just drawing through more cards. I didn't see what he laid down in that iced remote.
No, I didn't. I didn't either. I believe the Moombed tour is what's under that Sensi, protecting that Sensei. I want to believe.
I think it's actually the product placement.
Oh,
so
okay.
He's okay with Timmy going to, handle that because he'll get some money out of it.
Right.
Timmy, on the other hand, has a day job in hand, but a bunch of asset economy anyways.
Yep.
So I don't think he's going to be worried about using that right now.
No.
If he has a Faust in the deck, which I presume he does.
A lot of these Atom decks tend to run Overmind.
That's true. Yeah, they'll run Overmind, Injection Attack.
Yep.
So he might end up using the Day Jump eventually, but the ones I saw, the 2 that made the cut yesterday, actually.
Yeah, I know.
Made the top 96 for running a Faust.
And that is why I think Damien thinks the game is balanced right now, because there were, what?
Because there were 2 Atom.
2 Atoms and a Quetzal.
Yeah, and several criminals.
Game's fine.
Maybe a handful of criminals made it yesterday.
This is fine.
So yeah, Timmy's got nothing but Econ, which normally isn't bad against CTM.
No, I think it's just him deciding if he, if
he wants to go for it now or play it a little safer. And so he's going to run at the ice.
Let's see what we got here.
The old classic
Data Raven.
So Brian's down to 2 credits now.
So do you just? I think you got to bounce here. I think it's too dangerous to just let the tag. I mean, you could pop the tag, take the trace, but I mean, taking 2 tags here, I don't think you have any need to.
On as few credits as he has, you can't really do that.
Yep.
Especially when it could just be something like the QPM sitting behind that Data Raven.
Exactly.
You don't want to give them that early score for 24/7 shenanigans.
Yep. So this is as expected. Timmy here going after the Sensei. This is you can't, like we said, you just can't keep this thing on the board.
Yep. And so
looks like he's dropping the tag.
Drops the tag. Yeah.
Yep.
Looks like he has 2 clicks remaining, maybe.
Yep. So probably just Armitage here. The next big fear, obviously, is the hard-hitting news. Oh, okay. Which I think is what we're going to see happen here.
Yeah. And now Timmy does have a way out of that, right? He's got the assets on board to money up and spend a turn removing tags. Well, that gives the NBN player 2 whole turns, essentially. This whole turn to take money and hard hit, and then the next turn to do whatever he wants to get set back up.
And you're essentially, as Timmy, that 8 credits that you could have used to trash future assets, things like that. Now you don't have that ability to do. So it really sets you back so far in this game.
Yeah, Timmy pulling out the top 4 tag tokens, as we see there.
I wonder if we're going to see anybody play solely with dice today. Is it?
I think there's a guy, might be familiar with him, Josh Wilson.
I've never heard of that guy before.
Well, I hear he tends to like dice.
I think so.
And if he plays on camera, I think we'll see not a paucity of dice. So we'll see if we get that a little bit later. But yeah, for now, Timmy's sticking with the tokens. Brian using his metal tokens.
I hope the dice haven't been forced out of their playstyle just because of these last couple days.
Yeah. I've always been on the fence. I really like tokens, but it's so much easier to use dice.
Right.
And so it's almost a question of just, am I going to have a lot of money this game?
Right. See, I'm a fan of using dice basically to track my counters.
Yeah.
And then use standard tokens for tracking my credits.
That's fair. Yeah, things like I would drop 1 tag and then just put a die on it.
Right.
Yep. How many tags I've got.
I mean, having to drop
so much more sense.
20 credits on Timmy contract is just kind of a real pain.
Yeah.
It really slows the game down as you're pulling all these tokens out. So I think Timmy running R&D, it looks like. Brian deciding what he wants to do with these 3 credits.
Resistor, 4 strength resistor. So
Timmy's not going anywhere.
Gonna bounce.
Yep. I bet Timmy wishes he had always be running now.
Yeah, I bet he wishes he had just clicked for credits off of Armitage at this point.
Probably a good idea too. So now the hard part is, you could click for credits and then you got to fear maybe a closed account sets you back again.
Right. Yeah. Well, and as Adam, really any sort of meat damage sort of ends the game for you.
That's very true.
He's gonna run through the Data Raven.
So it looks like Timmy going all in the tag me early.
Yeah, just early tag me. He's going to let the Data Raven even have the counter. So interesting decision there. I would have thought with all of that money he had, he would have sort of let it go.
Right. But no, it looks
just focus on removing tags. But
no,
and find the truth he sees in exchange of information off the top. So
this is I think this is a directive that Adam has always been kind of borderline as far as like a tier 2 maybe like in good hands tier 1.5. But hopefully it gets enough love. I think we can see some shift maybe. I think out of all of the IDs, Adam probably is the closest to being truly competitive.
Yeah.
I think Sunny, at least in this one, it's just too slow.
Yeah, Sunny has some great tools, but they take too long to get online and they're too expensive.
Absolutely.
At this point in time. So I think she has sort of the next future.
Right.
But yeah, Adam, Find the Truth just gives you so much information.
Oh, it does. I mean, the free access, the ability to know what you're going to run on R&D just saves you the time. And just the information that you're seeing, maybe you're seeing their splash, or maybe you see, a kill. But just that information alone is such a huge benefit to you.
Yeah. So here's the trade-off, actually. Now that Brian knows Timmy will just run through that Data Raven. This Astro script he just drew is a lot less safe.
Absolutely.
So he can't just drop that down and know that Timmy's not going to run it.
Right.
But I was a little surprised to see Timmy not sort of spend the time to just remove all those tags. And I wonder if he's going to go back to do that. He's still got all this money sitting on assets.
Right.
That Brian also can't really afford to get rid of.
No,
so.
Brian needs his money. He needs the defense up now, knowing that a lot of his ice aren't really going to do anything.
Right. So I think he drops the wraparound in front of HQ.
Absolutely.
So that's going to buy him some time.
Yep.
Timmy's still sitting on 2-day jobs and a sure gamble in hand.
So, I mean, Timmy is not short on econ. He just needs to find, he needs to draw his breakers, start applying that pressure on R&D.
I think what I would do in this situation, and I'm sure Timmy won't do this because he's a much better player than I am, is you day job this turn.
Yep.
Next turn, sure gamble.
Yep.
Make a runner, maybe 2. Remove a tag. And then the following turn, you can remove the rest.
Right. I also think maybe if you want a day job now and then remove the tags next turn is probably okay.
One turn. Yeah, it's going to depend what Brian does, of course.
You're still sitting on enough credits that you can sure gamble to get your credits back up anyways. So I think either play is fine.
But I think, as you mentioned earlier, he's reasonably afraid of closed accounts.
I think so. Absolutely. That's why you don't want to get too far ahead in the econ war before you clear any of those
And that's why it's so hard against these yellow decks is you don't know if they've got it or not.
Right.
So he runs into the wraparound.
Yep.
So he knows he's not getting in for a minute.
So checking R&D.
Yeah, so he'll run archives to see R&D, to see the all-seeing
all-seeing eye. Oh,
I bet he might.
I think you might take all of your credits now.
Yeah, click some credits off of Armitage, would be my guess.
Yeah, I think that's the play you have to do here after seeing that. Just empty it out.
It's the decision he's making.
He's got 2 clicks left, so he can't take everything, but I think taking 4 here is just fine.
I think at this point, even if you assume he's on closed accounts, you know you're going to lose those assets.
Right.
So take the money now, force him to close now.
Right.
And then try and recover from there.
Absolutely. No, I think that's a smart play. So, yep, Timmy taking the money.
Brian will see why now as he draws. Yep.
Brian's pretty happy with that.
But at this point now, is it worth it for Brian? There's only 2 credits left on Armitage, 2 on daily casts.
I mean, Scrubber is still not insignificant, I suppose.
Yeah, that's fair. So we'll see.
But I don't know if burning an all-seeing eye just to kill Scrubber is necessarily the right play.
Right.
I mean, Brian's not, he really hasn't drawn into his econ either.
Right,
so Brian's been really fighting this
sitting
game.
on 1 credit here.
Yep.
I think maybe a play is just drop the Moonbed Virtual Tour behind the Data Raven, hope Timmy goes after it.
Right, so...
and then money up, yeah.
So
he just takes
Adam
2
is
credits.
totally free.
Yeah.
No more directives.
Yep. Now it's just a vanilla runner.
That's right.
Which is really, it'll be interesting to see how many directives he has in the actual deck list now.
Do you, I don't know if any Adam players actually run duplicate.
I know one of the 2 yesterday.
Oh, they did?
Played more than 1.
Interesting.
I don't remember which one it was. But yeah, he drew it and played it later. Because then with Jack Sinclair out, you can blank one of them.
Right. So this is kind of interesting play by Timmy. He's going to just money up instead of clearing out his tags.
Yeah, interesting. Well, and he's got 5, so I guess that's reasonable. But I really would have thought he would have cleared 1, so that
Absolutely.
he can spend just 1 turn.
Yep. Yeah, so I mean, you really got to be afraid of the close accounts here.
Yeah.
And with nothing for Timmy to spend his econ on right now, I mean, it's not really benefiting him.
Yeah. And so I think that was a Moonbed Virtual Tour that went down behind the Data Raven.
I believe so.
And then he dropped the toll booth on a new server.
Yep.
So I think he's going to hope Timmy runs through that Data Raven again and then try and square out that Astro.
Right, yeah. I think he really wants to set up that defense. Timmy not applying pressure as far as any breaker, is not seeing anything. So Brian feels a little, pretty safe, I think, trying to score that Astro up behind that.
So he's going to
looks like he's going to beat the
run
trace.
R&D, beat the trace.
Yep.
Yeah, just not care about the tags.
Nothing.
Nothing. And unfortunately, as we can see, this is getting sort of worse and worse for Timmy because Brian is drawing agendas that he's going to get ready to score.
Yep.
He's still missing money, which is good news. But the longer he waits, the better position Brian's going to be, frankly, to just fast advance out if he needs
absolutely. And Timmy having to spend 4 credits every time just to get through there. I mean,
yeah, he's down to 6 now.
Right, he's slowly draining his resources. He's not going to be able to apply the pressure when he finally gets into a breaker.
Right.
So, Brian just really, really wants some econ right here. He has the ice to score. He just can't afford to really res it and feel comfortable.
Yeah, he's sitting. He's probably just going to have to take 3 credits.
Yep, I think so. I think that's fine. Looks like just draw. Take 2.
Yeah.
I think he drew first.
Yeah, mandatory draw 1.
Yep.
Take 2 credits. Yep. So he's going to have to discard a couple here.
So I think you could probably just dump the Data Raven. Yep.
Yep, Data Raven and the Troll.
Yep, and none of those are going to do anything in this matchup right now. So Timmy here looking at, you know, I think maybe he's still going to keep.
He's just going to keep pounding R&D.
Yep. He has
and
2 fresh accesses.
Yeah, and he has his day job, which he can fire next turn.
You trash that right here? I think you trash it.
Yeah. That's a hard choice because now you can't day job next turn.
Oh, that's true.
And then get back in the turn after.
That's true. So it looks like.
Oh, interesting.
Wow, interesting.
He's out Beth
with the tags.
Yeah. So he's going to force Brian to spend more money.
Right.
Which I guess at this point,
you've
seen Brian take clicks for credits turn after turn.
Right.
You know what's coming on R&D.
Well, except Timmy did see the hedge fund, so we know he's going to have the money. So, yeah, this is kind of an interesting decision.
I guess you're forcing him to spend a click to trash it.
Sure.
But I don't know that that's really worth it.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about this play.
And Brian just takes. So now he's at toll booth money.
You know, Timmy's mind works in ways that we will never understand. You know, I mean, he wins. So.
Yeah. Again, somehow continues year after year to show this excellence. So yeah, he's just going to spend a turn day jobbing.
Yep. So I think you'd really, really like to see a close account here. Sensei going down.
Yep.
So he's sitting on the exchange of information. So, I mean, maybe you want to feed that global food.
Yeah, but
get
again,
it out of your hand.
Without seeing another breaking news. Okay, so he's probably just going to leave it.
Yep. I wonder,
you know,
see if Timmy runs archives. I think you don't even put it back in your deck. I think if Timmy runs archives, you let him steal it.
Absolutely. Yeah. The issue then is you just got to find that next breaking news or 15 minutes or whatever it is and score it.
Yep. Exactly. When you don't even need it. I mean, Timmy's writing tags, so you just exchange. Oh, right. You just fast it.
Yeah.
Yep. You don't even have to worry about it. You just throw it out in breaking news and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So Timmy, it looks like he's going to run through R&D again.
And I think this is the issue, is if Timmy continues to see cards before Brian, then he might not get that breaking news he needs. So,
but it looks like Econ is slowly getting there for Brian.
At that point,
Sweeps Econ top is going to be very good for him.
Yeah. He's got another hard-hitting news if Timmy does try and clear tags at this point.
Right. And at this point, I don't think it's going to happen. I think Timmy's ready to just kind of go to town.
I think he decided that this game was just going to be a tag me game.
Yep. So E3, kind of an interesting decision here. I don't know that Brian really has any ice that has more than one sub. You know, the only thing they really run maybe is Little Engine that has multiple subs. Otherwise, everything is just a single sub ice.
And with the wraparound, you drop Overmind. That's an expensive break.
Absolutely.
So I'm not sure as well where he's going with that.
Yep. So
so he's using the top 4 tag tokens from this year to represent 5 tags, it looks like.
So I think if you're Brian, I'd almost like to see, you have the sweeps in hand, except Timmy's not really sending any cards. So sweeps is really kind of dead for him, unfortunately.
Yeah, although he has a regular hand size now, so one of these days. But
so I wonder, I think you throw the pop-up down on R&D, knowing that Timmy's been running through it all day.
I think that makes sense.
And then maybe just take 2 credits.
Or was that a special offer?
You know, it's a good question. I thought it was.
I thought I saw a pop-up, but
that's what I thought it was.
I feel like I might have also just seen a special offer, which I'm hoping is true because I love that card.
So I think, I don't think you need the hard news
at this point. Timmy's happy to just take tags.
Yep. I mean, unless you're running Psycho, I guess. And maybe you want to get, to 9 to maybe score a big bail later, but.
So you might drop Resistor in front of that toll booth now.
Yep.
And think about just taking money and getting ready to score that Astro out.
And I think that'd be a good play right here. Sure.
He's going to Jackson.
So yeah.
So he's got the hedge now.
So I think he's ready to score next turn and get that Astro out. Yep.
Oh, or just put the Sensi down. That makes sense fine. Too. But he does have to drop 1. He might drop the toll booth's going to be really
still
useful.
Really good because Timmy hasn't shown any intention of dropping any breakers.
But it's going to be hard for him to have both of those out and pay for them.
Dubbing the sweep. I mean, I suppose if Timmy's hand size never gets bigger than its basic hand size, he's never really going to get any value out of it.
If Timmy's not worried about the meat damage, then
I think it's fine.
Speaking of Overmind,
there it is.
Although I think that other card might be a Katie Jones. So
Timmy and
oh no, it's not.
Is that a strike, maybe?
It's hard to see. That card did work for me yesterday.
In play strike?
Yeah.
Wait, no, I don't know what that is.
Is that a gunslinger card?
I don't think so. No, they were only giving out the IDs.
Yeah, that is one thing that's really interesting. Ben has suggested Brain Cage. I don't think so, though. I think that's got pretty distinctive art that I would
Yeah. So, yeah,
feel
I'm
like.
not really sure what
So the pop-up in front of R&D, as
Yep.
predicted.
Yep.
So Brian's just helping himself money up.
Absolutely.
He's going to beat the trace.
I mean, it's still, Timmy's still paying 5 every time he wants to get through this thing,
Right.
too. Considering you spent 0 on both of those dice, I think it's a pretty good return.
And unless he has a levy, those day jobs are staying in the bin.
Absolutely. Nope.
Interesting. Brian is going to
pop the Jackson.
Maybe happy to put the GFI back in. Yeah, because he wants Timmy to take it at this point. And then just the hedge funds, I think.
Yep, I think that's fine.
Or the Sensies.
Good.
Okay, product placement.
That's interesting, yeah. And a Sensei.
The Sensei, I think, is fine. I'm a little interested that he didn't put back any.
Yeah, I think I would have liked the hedge fund
money
over that product placement.
Yeah.
It's kind of an interesting decision. I mean, Timmy's not on medium, so he's not deep digging to hit product placement over and over and over and over again.
It's just an RDI.
Yep.
Which sort of goes back to the point we were talking about earlier, that medium is the choice even in Shaper now.
That card needs to be looked at. Something needs to be done. I think it's been obvious for a long time, but I think it really kind of reared its head. I mean, I've seen criminals running medium.
Yeah.
Over, I run medium in Shaper, like you said.
If you want R&D multi-access, it makes so much more sense to go.
It's cheaper. Medium. I mean, you can tutor it with SMC.
And I think, there it is. So there's the GFI. But he's seen the psychographics now, too. So Brian might honestly just be digging for a Beal to just score out.
Just score out, yep. I mean, he'd still like to score something. I mean, he's not keeping Timmy out completely, and it's working for Timmy. He's slowly,
he's getting the points, and he's seeing the cards before Brian does, and that's all he needs to do.
Yep.
And I guess that's his plan at this point.
Yeah, I think so.
But to go back to the medium conversation real quick, I think actually a big part of that is that Jinteki has seen less play.
Absolutely.
Wayland has seen very little play.
Wayland hasn't seen play since almost core.
Right. And so those are decks that can hurt you on those R&D digs.
Yep.
And I think maybe as those come back, certainly some of the cards we saw in those Gunslinger events suggest that Jinteki at least will be back.
I mean, even being able to just shoot a medium, is such a huge tempo. It really stalls out the game for you, which is good. But I really do hope some of these upcoming cards really kind of help alleviate kind of the standard play. I mean, it's basically everything is T-Con medium because they work. I mean, T-Con is Econ is probably the best econ engine in the game right now.
Yeah.
And then obviously it meshes with medium.
Right.
So it's just something they really have to look at, because I anticipate Store Championship season, which starting up here, it's a lot of what you're going to see is a lot of the same style of play.
Yeah. Well, and so for me, in my mind, it's a question of, well, do they want to do it now, knowing there's more cards coming out? Intervention was just released.
Right.
And so I think what we'll probably see is we'll see after Store Champ season, it's probably going to be another pack, right?
Yep.
And so then they'll maybe release another MWL.
And it wouldn't surprise me to see, which is unfortunate for Criminal, it wouldn't surprise me to see Timujin go on the MWL right away. I mean, it's in literally every single deck.
Yeah, and I think that's the problem, though, is that they also see that Criminal is so undervalued that doing that really hurts them.
Yep, and I think their mistake was not setting it at 3 influence from the start, and then I think you wouldn't have this issue.
And that's what I think I would like to see them do more, is actually errata the influence.
I agree.
Stuff like medium, just if you... And that's tough, because you see it everywhere.
Right.
But if you lowered the influence and put it on the MWL, it's harder for Anarchs to run it too.
Right, absolutely. Because criminals really don't have any. I mean, the hard part for criminals right now, they have to import so many things, right? They have econ packages, but they have to import breakers. They have to import their multi-axis for R&D.
Right.
So they're really strapped as far as how they can really, put anything in their decks right now. They're pretty rigorously built right now. There's not a lot of leeway.
Timmy continues to drop resource economy.
Timmy just showing no fear. Dropping these resources.
I guess he's decided the tempo hit for Brian to trash it is greater than any sort of econ hit he's taken, which out of Adam is a little surprising.
It is.
And ironically, we see the closed accounts that Brian draws.
Yep. But right now, I mean, it's not going to do a whole lot.
Yeah, it's not relevant, and so Timmy shouldn't be too worried about it. Product placement, another Jackson, and closed accounts, I think, is what he drew.
So I think Brian is just trying to find an agenda. He's had the windows here to score. He just hasn't had anything to score.
Well,
all he has is that Astro so far.
I'm not sure yet. What's behind that toll booth right now?
Yep. It has to be the Astro, because I think
so. Yeah.
It's not in his hand, so and
I didn't see him throw it away, but we went off on a medium.
Yeah, we did. Medium tangent.
So
it looks like
spend.
Yep. So there we go. There's. Oh, is that a global food he's trying to push out?
I am not sure.
Yeah. This is kind of
strange play from both players.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
I'm so confused with what's happening right now. Have I forgotten how to play Netrunner? Is something going on here?
This is why these two are in contention for the King of Servers, and we are not. With baffling play, they make Worlds top 16 and top 8 even.
They know something more than we do. Some next level play is going on here.
Yeah, this is what it takes. This is the next leveling it takes to.
I have to go back to the drawing board. I have to stop playing standard Netrunner, and I guess I need to start being more creative.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need to score agendas to win.
No,
Nick.
no, you don't.
Apparently, you just need to advance them.
And you don't have to worry about dropping, resources when you're running tags. That's just fine.
Because he knew Ryan wasn't going to trash it, and now look, he's gotten 2 credits. He's trashed the Sensi.
Yep.
He's going to bounce off Resistor here though, above the agenda.
So Timmy hitting the drugs. And I think Timmy is looking kind of locked out here. I think we're getting to a point in the game state where there's just he's not on the breakers, he's not on the econ. I think he's just kind of stuck here.
Right.
And we're just going to see Brian just push stuff out behind this remote here. He doesn't even need to really worry about exchanging anything. Yep.
So it was the Astro.
Yep.
He advanced it once to score, and I'm not sure what he's going to spend the rest of his turn doing.
I think if you're Brian, I think you just start drawing. I think you just start looking for agendas to score.
Yeah.
I mean, as it is right now, I just don't see.
He might trash the daily casts.
So a naked product placement.
Yep. And then he's just going to take a credit. So Timmy going to take 2.
Yep.
He got a draw off a drug dealer during Brian's turn. I didn't see what it was.
I think it was a Temujin contract.
Oh, Temujin. Okay.
Yep.
Unfortunately, can't afford it.
No.
But next turn, I would suspect we'll see an install of Temujin and maybe just run 3 times.
Yeah,
unless he sees something on R&D, but even then, I don't think he can get in. So.
No. But yeah, I think at this point in the game, I just don't know that Timmy's going to be able to find a way to get back into R&D, or even to get in a hand. I mean, Overmind. If Overmind is his only breaker, I hope he's running something else. But
draws freedom through equality. So if he can find another GFI or a Beal,
I mean, you get up to 6.
He'll be on 6.
Yep.
At that point.
I mean, we've watched enough Netrunner to know that stranger things have happened.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think Timmy's looking just to get to Temujin level and then maybe just run 3 times next turn. Just good as econ back. Even though the hard part is, Brian's still sitting on that close account, so I don't know how much damage that's really going to do. How effective it's going to work out for Timmy.
And yeah, we just see him drawing at this point. He's found another Sensi, he's found a Jackson.
But yeah, I think the play is just, you guys just got to find your agendas.
Yeah. So he's going to drop the Sensi on the product placement. Oh, and there's a San City grid and the scoring server. So he might not even be worried about dealing with Timmy until that last point, and then he'll just EOI the GFI.
Right.
So Timmy takes his daily cast money.
So we see a Public Sympathy in hand.
Yep.
Looks like he just drew.
He drew the Public Sympathy 4th click last turn.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what he drew off of Drug Dealer. Or maybe that was the Drug Dealer draw.
I think that was the Drug Dealer draw, yeah.
And he drew the
so here's the Temujin.
Yeah, so there's Temujin.
Yep, run archives 3 times. Unfortunately for Timmy, we know it's coming after this.
Right.
And unless maybe he just wants to run twice and then try and get an RD again.
So that's 8 he's taken.
Yep.
Yeah, so he's run twice,
Overmind.
drops an Overmind, and now he'll run R&D, presumably.
Looks like he's drawing.
Interesting. So he's letting Brian go.
Yep.
So Brian would love to see All-Seeing Eye.
So
Brian
saw a Psychographics, a Global Food, and a Breaking News. I think you keep
Sweep, actually.
I think you dump the Sweep and you keep everything else.
Yeah, I think you just score out Breaking News here.
Yep.
Because
you can Psycho and exchange for information all in one turn next turn and just win.
Exactly.
Yep. Because Timmy's still on 5 tags, I believe.
Yep. That's correct.
So yeah, I think you just score the breaking news right now, and then next turn you go GFI into Psycho, and then exchange information, and that's it. But it looks like Brian Content's just kind of moneying up here. I mean, I suppose he can just fast advance it right here. He doesn't really.
Yeah. So he actually
about it.
he just scores the breaking news off of the Sand.
Yep.
Which is fine, because now Timmy looks at that and he says, well, he's going to just score out now unless I can deal with that. And Timmy can't get through that server.
No, it's not going to happen.
There's an expensive toll booth there.
So I don't know that there's anything, even to me. I mean, I guess his random shot is to throw that freedom from equality down, make a run R&D, hope you hit 2 agendas, and
or hit in hand, hit the GFI out of hand,
right?
But then he's still got to find something.
Right, he's still got to find something else. So I think R&D is really the only place to go here. I mean, you don't have the money to get through, HQ more than once.
Yeah. I think maybe you run archives once for damage and money, play the freedom, and then maybe try and get into R&D.
Yep, I think that's the play here. I think that's what I'd like to see.
He really wishes he had Find the Truth at this point, I'm sure.
But yeah, I don't see any other play here for Timmy. I mean, I don't know if Timmy can sniff out that Brian's sitting on, obviously, that perfect combination of exchange of information, psychographics, and global food.
Okay, so he's just going to run archives again. He might actually be trying to go deal with this Sand,
so, yep,
but
here we
unfortunately
go.
He doesn't realize. Okay, so yeah.
So it looks like he's making a run.
Plays the
probably on
freedom.
R&D. Yep,
Yeah.
here we go.
Try and get the multi-access.
So if Timmy hits 2 agendas.
Yeah, if he hits 2 Beals, game's over.
Yep. So now the question is, do you see...
Or even a Beal and a breaking news,
Yep.
yeah. So any 2 agendas, really,
yep.
as long as they're not both 1 points. So these are 6-7 strength resistors.
Yep. But you could let Brian try and trace you.
Yeah, you have more money right now. So I think you just let the trace fire, and I think maybe that's what he's done, and Brian's having to think about it here.
Yep. And I think that's exactly what you have to do. I mean, 4 credits is,
But I think if you're Brian, you know where 5 agendas are. I think you let it go, yeah.
Yep.
So he's let the first trace go.
So now, Timmy, I think you have to spend the 7 here. Because otherwise you can get out traced.
Yeah.
So I think you have to break out the Overmind, yeah. Yep. There you go.
So that's what he'll do.
Yep.
He'll access 2 cards. There's a Beal.
Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Wait.
Oh, it's not
that's
it yet.
not it.
That's only 6.
That's 6.
Maybe one more.
Oh, dodges it. Sweep. All right, well, so now Brian has the win in hand.
Yep.
And that should do it.
Brian's the type of player I would think he could spot this.
Yeah, I would think so. Yeah, he's got the Psycho up front, so he'll draw the 3 just for giggles at this point. But he could hedge fund and then do it.
Yep.
If you really wanted.
Yeah, because with the bail, he can just straight up,
with the GFI.
or the GFI, yep. He can just, yep.
Oh, right, but he needs to exchange.
Right, so he has to go.
So he has to just go install Psycho.
And then exchange.
Swap, yeah.
Yep. Let's see.
So these cards shouldn't really matter.
Nope,
if he's
this
drawing.
is just mandatory draws here.
Yeah.
Let's see if he's.
Yep.
He's
so
thinking.
He's going to swap.
Yeah, I think he's mathing it out just to make sure. Yep. Yep, there it goes.
Install Psycho.
Yep, and that's game.
So that's game.
So Brian here. CTM doing what it does. Although you got to give Timmy credit here. I mean, he.
Yeah,
all things considered, he really made it into a game here at the end.
Got to 6 points.
Yep. Well, I suppose technically 5 by the end of this game.
Fair.
He had a shot there.
Yeah, I think you just have to question, was it maybe worth it to clear those tags to begin with?
Right.
With all that econ in hand, you can recover from it.
Right. I mean,
he lost a lot of rig.
He did.
As a result. So.
I think, not having to spend, 11 credits to get an R&D.
Right.
Only having to spend 1 with an Overmind without having those tags out there is, so much better.
Absolutely.
So.
Yeah, and again, you mentioned the E3 didn't do anything this game, but.
Yep.
The RDI was really helpful.
Yep.
It got him a couple of points.
It did, and
And so I think with that setup, if he'd had, his directives, for instance, being able to find the truth off of Temujin runs is super helpful.
Absolutely.
And could have maybe scored him some points earlier.
Yep.
But it was a fun deck to watch.
It was. It's unfortunate that we didn't get to see enough of it.
Yeah,
I really would have wished we could have seen more of this deck.
In fact, I think there's a green card on bottom right now. I want to know what that is. If it's just another RDI or what.